Hey, business building warrior, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I've got an interview today with another incredible proven Amazon course student, which, if you're new around here, you don't know what I mean by that. We've got hundreds of interviews on this podcast. If you scroll back in time, you can go to silentjimdotcom or look up our show on your favorite podcast listening app, maybe on YouTube. You can scroll back in time and see hundreds of interviews with students who have learned how to build incredible businesses on Amazon specifically, but with a handful of other great ideas as well. And they share their stories on our show. The Proven Amazon course is the flagship course for the vast majority of those students. That, of course, is our library of all Amazon seller training, everything from brand new, clueless newbies who have never sold online before up to very experienced online sellers who are looking to improve their presence on Amazon and make more money. The library of content covers it all, and we know right where to start you. It's just $39 a month. You get all of it. Turn it off anytime, but that course is going to grow with you and give you right what you need right when you need it. We call it just-in-time education. That's the approach we take with Amazon. ProvenAmazonCourse.com. Sorry for the commercial, but I'm just so excited and proud of that course because we just keep seeing incredible success stories, and today's no exception. Debbie Shadlock is going to join us in just a moment. She's been with us since 2019, as I'm recording this. Here we are in fall of 2023, and she has built a beautiful business. It's just her, occasional assistance from our virtual assistant. She attended our Proven conference last year. The website for that is theprovenconference.com. If you're interested, by the way, we'll stick that in the show notes. The next one is May of 2024. So go look that up and lock it in. But she was there last year. She got into a mastermind group. That's part of the VIP experience. And she told me today offline that it was a tremendous experience and it was really helping her with her business. So that's cool. But she's got some friends that she connects with on a regular basis who are encouraging and helping her. She spent 2 months this summer at the beach, just enjoying time with her daughter, she shares, because she's built a very healthy 6-figure business with great margins. She shares all the details on the show today using the strategies that we teach. She is also just now starting to get into branded bundles. You've heard us talking about that a fair amount around here if you've been listening to the show the past several months. ProvenBrandedBundles.com has details on that content, which will eventually be rolled into the Proven Amazon course, which is where all of our content exists. If you have questions about any of that, please reach out to our support team or get into our free Facebook group. We're about to pass 74,000 members. We're very excited to see all these new warriors from around the world who are building beautiful businesses using the internet creatively coming into our group. You can ask your questions there as well. There's a link to all that at silentjim.com, the only website that you need as a fan of this show. So Debbie and I talked a lot today about her contributions to the community in the past. She had some great content that she added into the Proven Amazon course, completely free. She didn't ask for any payment. She just wanted to create some great content. And it's so phenomenal on how to use spreadsheets, the basics of using spreadsheets when you're first starting out on Amazon. That's something I love about this community is so often successful students, those who have benefited from this community, step up and say, I've received so much. I've got such a beautiful business now. I love the lifestyle. Debbie stepped away from her IT career and this is her income now. And she's got such a flexible lifestyle. She just wanted to give something to the community that had served her so well. So that's one of the ways that she's contributed in the past. We've never had her on the show before, but today we're going to dive into her 4+ year journey of selling and having a lot of success on the Amazon platform with a very bright future. One of the other topics you'll hear, I think you'll enjoy this from the episode today, is she starts talking about how she lives in Canada. She sells in both Canada and the US on Amazon. And she's actually moving some stuff successfully across the border. And she's found a lot of great opportunities there. But we're talking to her maybe about even having her as one of the great leaders on our team, creating some content on that concept. So no matter where you live, you can start to learn what it looks like to move product from one country to another country, following the customs laws, figuring out what Amazon does and doesn't allow. Wouldn't that be cool to start to get that advantage? She's got some tremendous products that she's able to secure fairly easily and move them across the border and do really well with them, just opening up another window of opportunity for the entire community based on a simple conversation that we have with her today. So I think you're going to love this conversation with Debbie Shadlock. And just if I have one thing I want to encourage you to do before I turn the interview loose, let's do 2 things. First, my book, silentsalesmachine.com. You can go and see what's in the book. Don't spend a penny on it, though. If you want to buy it for $19, that's fine. But actually, all you have to do is text the word free to the phone number. We'll stick it in the show notes as well. You can look below this video or wherever you listen to this audio and find this phone number, but it's 507-800-0090. Text the word free to that number. You'll get a free copy of the book that's sold over 1 million copies in the past, over 1,100 5-star reviews from the time that we sold it on Amazon. And it's been the foundation of so many creative, incredible success stories from this community. So check that out if you want a little bit more know about what we're all about. And the other thing is, I want to just double confirm that you've locked in those dates for May of 2024. It's the 23rd through the 25th of 2024, May, in Orlando. We're going to a beautiful resort. It's not going to be very expensive at all. We negotiated a great deal. It's a great place to bring your family. You can come hang out. They'll have plenty of fun things to do. It's right near SeaWorld, actually, in Orlando. If your family wants to go do other things while you're hanging out with business building warriors, hundreds of us, we're going to gather. It's The Proven Conference. That's the website, theprovenconference.com. Be looking. Tickets will go on sale soon, but go ahead and lock in the dates. Maybe even start thinking about your travel plans, because we're doing this thing and it's going to be huge. Debbie talks about that a little bit today too, her experiences there. So that's it for announcements. Let's jump over and meet Miss Debbie Shadlock. So Debbie, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Jim.
It's great to have you here as a guest, and I'm excited to jump into your story. You ready?
I am. Oh, so go.
Yeah. It's all you. Hey, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, it is really good to be here. We were chatting a minute ago, and I said, I think I've listened to hundreds of these podcasts. So it's really cool to be here. I'm very happy to be here. I've been around your community for a few years. I've had an interest in e-commerce for, I don't know, as long as e-commerce has been a thing. And to be honest, I'm someone who's old enough that when I was in my 30s, I would flip through the yellow pages looking for ideas for businesses to start. It's always been something I wanted to do. But I worked in IT for years. I was a high school computer science teacher. I worked in IT and project management, and e-commerce seemed like the right thing to do. So I honestly don't remember what I Googled. I must have Googled something like how to start an online business or how to sell things online, just browsing around looking for ideas, and eventually stumbled into your Facebook group, the My Silent Team group. I looked at a few things. I poked around and joined a few groups, but it was really easy to see really quickly that your group was a very supportive place to start doing e-commerce, and a place where you could get answers when you ask them, instead of being yelled at for asking a question that's already been asked and answered 15 times.
Right.
So I did poke around a bit, but really quickly bought the Proven Amazon course and dove in. And, it took me a while to get going. I'll admit, I think I sent in one shipment and then didn't send one in for 2 years. So,
wow, yeah, that's a big break.
I can hardly believe it myself, but I was just sort of hovering around trying it. The first shipment I sent in, I got rid of some of my old textbooks and a few toys around the house, and did a few things. And like most people on their first shipment, was completely exhausted and, oh my gosh, this is so much work. How can people possibly do this? But then you start getting some sales, and it's like, well, this is kind of fun. This is something I could do. So, I was just kind of poking around, and like I said, I didn't do anything for a couple of years, and a few years later, I thought, well, let's really give this a go, because that was really cool when I, actually made a sale and had Amazon send me some money. So yeah, around 2018, 19, I thought, well, let's try this, and went at it with a bit more commitment, and, let's really do this. So yeah, the Proven Amazon course, it's given me, I go in there and there's so much in there. So, I tried, I started out selling in Canada, and I really quickly wanted to sell in the US. I don't know why. It's a bigger market, it's a faster selling market. It just seemed like something I wanted to do. So got a lot of information from the POC course there. And that's how I started going. And my first real year of selling, I'd say it went really well. I was really pleased with it. So I think I sold about $200,000 the first year, and that I didn't expect to do that. So, you know, and that a lot of that came from your group. Like I was a very slow starter, especially trying to learn how to do cross-border stuff and figuring out the tax implications and figuring out FDA paperwork and figuring out, 101 other things on top of sending a shipment. So I was able to get the answers and do it. And, then there's no looking back from there. So yeah, that's the start.
Yeah. Well, beautiful. And it sounds like you had some other things going on along the way because you've been, like you said, you've been in the arena of e-commerce, computer business, that sort of thing for a
Yeah.
long period of time. What else have you kind of launched and moved on from, or what other projects are you involved in it still, if any?
No, I mean, it's other than this, it's been full-time work in IT. I can't remember what I said. I started as a high school teacher and then moved
Mhm.
into IT project management.
Okay. So you weren't really
And
into e-commerce, just you were in the IT arena. And you had an
absolutely.
entrepreneurial event because you mentioned flipping through yellow pages, which, by the way, that was one of my first jobs out of school. That kind of dates me. I worked for a company that
Oh,
printed yellow page books, right?
there you go.
That was my
Yeah.
first. And so I remember being fascinated by just all the different businesses. And that was my first exposure to kind of the advertising as
If
well.
e-commerce hadn't come along, I might own a laundromat right now. I don't know, but
Right.
you know, there's always been an itch to do something. And
Yeah.
when I read about FBA, I thought, okay, this is the one to try. So
Yeah. And you just stuck
yeah,
with it. Well, that's
yeah,
good that I'm glad you found this fairly early on. Just the number of stories I've heard from people who bounced from thing to thing to thing to thing that just never worked, wasting money and time. And, there's a lot of scams out there. The first thing I thought
yeah,
of when you said you got on Google and you said, how to make some money online, how to use the internet to
yeah,
build a business, like 95% of what you're going to see is garbage, man. That's why I started sharing my journey, was because I started
yeah,
just noticing, the first event I went to, for example, it was just one pitch after another, people just pitching these concepts. They seem very opportunistic and like, could that possibly work at scale? I was so skeptical. I said, if I ever do this, I'm going to do it different.
yeah.
And
It's very noticeable. I mean, I did actually join one group before yours,
mhm,
paid the money, hung around for a bit, and it would have been private label importing from China. It would have been a big, and I never did it. I just
good.
hung around for a while and I thought, this is just way too much upfront work and risk to not know if it's going to work. So,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
we now know, as an industry that's beginning to mature, although it's still in its infancy, that about 95% of those people never made a dime. They just spent a
yeah,
bunch of money on a dead end, tools and
yeah.
experts and courses. Yeah. So
And
we
there
went
was
on
some
that.
sketchy stuff in the group too. So yeah,
Okay.
you could see the difference.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. We like to operate with transparency as far as, hey, here's what's working, here's what's not, here's the challenges we're having, here's the success stories. And I think part of that foundation is the recognition that anything worth doing in life, including business, is going to require sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, risk, new skills,
Yeah.
always growing, always challenging yourself. The good things in life don't just kind of fall in your lap very often. And that's definitely true
No.
with business. So yeah, we kind of we scare away the people who are there to push an easy button and make a bunch of money. We scare them away pretty well, I think.
Yeah. And it's very true. It's after working at this for a few years, you really respect the business journey. Like people who are successful at it, it's no accident.
Right.
I worked in IT for years. I was employed by big companies, and then I went off and I was self-employed, and I made a lot of money during those days. And it was easy, but this is a lot harder. But it's a heck of a lot more rewarding too. You know,
Absolutely. A little
yeah.
more risk, a lot more reward.
Yeah, the wins mean a lot more, the flexibility. I don't make the money yet that I did in IT, but I spend 2 months a year in the summer out by the beach.
Yeah.
And I spent a month last winter and I worked from Costa Rica. I brought my laptop
That's awesome.
and it was beautiful. I got up every morning. I worked for about 3 hours on my laptop and then I went off for the day.
Yeah.
And
Got your business in
that's,
your pocket, go anywhere.
yeah, yeah,
Such a
that's what
liberating
I got.
feeling. Our,
Yeah.
our family will make big travel plans like, hey, let's get all the kids, let's go somewhere, let's do something. Like, when are you free? And I'm like, pretty much
Whenever.
you need whenever. It's like
Yeah.
weekends,
Yeah.
Monday's my favorite day of the week because that's when everything gets cranking again. Things
Yeah.
going to slow down on the weekends. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
I
ready for those
agree.
Mondays. And I've said for years, your goal should be to build a life that makes you excited for Monday, man.
Yep.
Right.
And this has done it. This has done it. I love getting up Monday morning and starting.
Yeah.
The power to do whatever I want,
Yeah.
but also it's not the march to the corporate job
Mhm.
to sit in the boardroom and listen to the meetings and
Play the
I don't
politics.
know. It's a good life. It's a good way to spend
It
your
is.
time.
I'm very blessed. I'm
Yeah,
20 plus years in. That's the only income we've had for over 20 years. And
that's
just
amazing.
so grateful every day. So
Mhm.
grateful. Multiple streams of income using the internet creatively. That's what I do. And if
Yeah,
anyone's interested in hearing about it, that's what we teach. That's what this show is all about.
it's
So,
awesome.
well, I love diving into your story. So, what are you up to now? What's working now? And let's kind of peel apart your business a little bit and maybe dive in and take a peek under the hood.
Okay. So where did I leave off? 2019. I
You had a
sold about
$200,000 year, your first full year, about 4 years
yeah.
ago.
And it was a good year and the margins were very healthy, 25, 30%. It was really good. And 2020 rolled around. And of course, everyone on this podcast probably has a pre and post COVID story.
Mm.
I had been focusing in 2019 on, I was selling a lot of candy and party supplies. And I had an amazing wholesale account. I used to sell plastic tablecloths by the thousands. It was amazing. Put one sticker on it, send, 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 and just thousands of them. Obviously, with COVID, that took a dive for about a year. And so when well, actually, during COVID, I have to say my business improved because there was so much buying online. The
Okay.
party supplies took a dive, but the business in general really picked up quite a bit. And I sell in both countries. About 80% of what I sell crosses the border in one direction or another, which is,
Really? There's some things you
yeah,
can learn there for sure.
it's like I started out buying and selling in each country, but your biggest advantage is taking something from a place where it's highly available. And I think you've said this many times, put it somewhere where it's not. And, the low hanging fruit, the easy stuff is what do the expats in Canada, what candy from their childhood are they missing? But,
Mhm.
it's just a starting point. There's so many different products that just make people think of home. And
Mm.
there's one little bag of candy. I think it costs $2 in Canada. I had a sales day where I sold over $1,000 of that one SKU. And I kept putting the price up because I knew I was going to run out. So, okay, let's make some money off this. So I spent a lot of time doing that, 2019, 2020. I wandered away from the party supplies just because of COVID. And I started expanding into, or I don't want to say expanded, looking into other areas. I started selling a lot of toys, which I just thought would be kind of interesting to try. Greg Webb, who's doing your proven brick investing course, is that what
Yes,
it's called? That's
provenbrickinvesting.com.
it.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
go way back with Greg, huh?
Yeah, I joined his group about a year and a half ago, and that's been really beneficial. He's a gold mine of knowledge. It's a really positive group. And I learned a lot. I didn't even know that grown adults played with Legos or that a $50 Lego could sell for $150 if you put it in the closet for a year. So I learned a lot there and I've added that to the mix. But right now I'd have to say I'm actually in a bit of a time of transition the business has steadily gone up, a certain percentage, 25, 30% a year. But in the back of my head, I've always wanted to get trademarked and brand registered and get into bundles. And I did actually take a shot at that about a year and a half ago. I created a listing in the US with my own bundle, played around with the keywords and the listing optimization, and got my listing on page one for my keywords. And I kept searching on it to look at it and probably destroyed my conversion rankings. But just I thought it was so cool. Like, look at that. That's me. So I experimented with that a bit. And then I think it was a meltable and the listing was under generic. So I had to let it die. But that's where I want to head. Like, since I've come back, as you know, I was going to be on the podcast a little bit earlier, but I kept extending my time out by the beach. And since I've come back, I've instead of diving in to get ready for Q4, I've actually been exporting from SellerBoard and just really diving into the data that I have for the last 3 years and figuring out where I want to sort of turn this business. For the first couple of years, I was maybe a bit more hands-on than I want. I had someone working with me during COVID, someone who wasn't able to go into work. So, that helped get a lot of work done. But what I really want is, like you say, like business on my phone,
Right.
more winters in Costa Rica, longer time at the beach. Like I'm trying to pull back on some of what I'm doing. I just wrapped up Nathan and Leanna's course last night, which
Branded
was,
bundles.
yeah, it was really good. I missed some of the sessions because I got busy, but I got the beginning and the end. So I'm going to have to go back and catch up. But really impressed with the content of that course and the quality of information and what they have achieved. So
the depth of knowledge there, just based on sheer volume of having done it the right way and the wrong way over a long period of time. There's no
impressed.
Bundle content out there that compares. The depth of knowledge.
It was outstanding.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning it. They did such a phenomenal job. It's so great to work with true pros who don't mind sharing what they know and speak from experience. Yeah, so glad you went through that. So you're gonna deploy some of those ideas then?
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to toss everything out. It is, it's mid-October, it's Q4. So in the last few weeks, I've pulled back from a lot of what I've been doing, but I'm not going to stop the machine now. But I am going to. I'm going to turn the focus to that. I want something more stable long term, a little less slugging and competition. I want my own listings. I want the storefront, my own listings, the brand, the whole works. So,
yeah, absolutely. We'd love to see people get there. Had you started there with private label and a group that wanted you to spend tens of thousands of dollars importing stuff from China, you'd have been burnt out and in the hole and done with the whole thing. But you're a mature seller now. You've had a few years under your belt. You've put some serious cash in the bank. It's time to start playing with that and building some of your own listings and building your brand. And I know Amazon is excited about this model. I can't point it out enough. We were just at Amazon Accelerate. They had 3 featured success stories that they brought on stage and wanted to tell the whole world about. One of them was a lady who I'm hoping will be at our conference in May. I had a great conversation with her, but it's just branded bundles. It's bagged snacks in a gift back box. She employs special needs adults and has a 7-figure plus business. There's no rocket science.
Crystal clear. No, it's crystal clear. That's where it's going. Even when you look at what what we can do on Amazon now. I mean, you need to own the brand. You have
Ideally. Yeah.
I can't fix listings I used to be able to fix.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. They've made it so only the brand can fix the listings. The person who set it up initially can fix the right. They're clamping down on and giving brands more and more power for sure. But I'm still holding out that I think we've got several more years, if not longer than that. I've been hearing about the demise of reselling for 20 plus years. and year after year, people are just there'll be somewhere to sell this stuff. If you can buy it cheap one place, move it somewhere else, sell it from that's not going anywhere. Ever.
Oh, I don't think it's dying. I just see advantages to having a brand. Yeah.
it's easier to build a system. The
Yeah.
team has fewer moving parts, perhaps, right? When you're
Yeah.
just kind of doing the same thing over and over again, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where I want to take it. Like I
Mhm.
said, I dipped my toes in it about a year and a half ago, and I shouldn't have let myself get sidetracked. I did, but that's where we're going back, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Hmm.
life hands us seasons, and,
Hmm.
we learn some new things and we start experimenting. That's the beauty of e-commerce. Again, that, there's only a couple things that e-commerce did from my vantage point, Debbie, that changed the rules of the game. Business is business. It's always been the same. You need happy customers paying you money for a product that you can provide at a profit, so you can keep serving them well without needing donations or going out of business, right?
Yeah.
That's business. But the way e-commerce changed the game is you can experiment constantly with new
Yeah.
ideas, new strategies. So build systems, keep them operating, put good people in place, and this experiment constantly, fail constantly is another way to say it,
Yeah.
right? It changed how much money you need to grow a viable business. You don't need much at all. And the fact that you want to be trying and failing constantly. Didn't used to be that way. Like in the 70s, and we're both of an age where we can remember back when business failing was a bad thing,
Right.
right? That's how it changed. E-commerce, like, no, I had 15 failed ideas last year, and it cost me a total of about $1,500 maybe, to
Right.
play, experiment, and try new things. Like, come on, why aren't you in the game,
Yeah.
right? So that's the way it changed things. So yeah, always be changing, and as those seasons of abundance, like you got to keep remembering. Okay, I got to be experimenting. I got to be testing. I got to be failing at some things over here, trying some things over here.
Yeah.
That's how you stay ahead of the
Agreed.
game.
Fail forward, fail fast. Yeah. The
Exactly.
risks, the risks are so small.
Right.
They're minuscule.
Hmm.
When you think of the potential results,
Hmm.
they're nothing. It's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know how blessed we are. It's kind of the theme that I have with
Yeah.
e-commerce. Like, I can just go off for an hour on that stuff. Like, do you realize what it meant to launch a successful
Yeah.
business 25 years ago compared
Yeah.
to
But
today? What went into it? The blood, sweat, tears, risk, years, tons
if
of
I
money,
if I
slim
picked
odds
something out
of
of that
survival.
Yellow Pages book, like seriously, I could have been buying washers and dryers, right?
Yeah.
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 It's nothing.
And so many of those businesses would come and go and just go under. And here we have been doing e-commerce for 20 years, all kinds of people, picking up a little bit of this, experimenting with a little bit of that, and making way
Yeah.
more money than I could have if I'd stayed with my real job, right? Just kind of piecing it
Yeah.
together. Well, I know you probably or possibly, I don't know if you do for sure, not have a list of things you want to kind of go through or any questions you want to hit with me, but I don't want to go too far without acknowledging that you provided some tremendous value to the Proven Amazon course at one point. It's been about,
Aw.
what, a little over a year or so ago, I'm thinking, maybe
Yeah.
longer, where you did some basic walkthrough. I don't remember the name of the course. Maybe you do, but you taught us, those who are
Just
brand new to spreadsheets. What are some of those basic
yeah.
spreadsheet skills that I need in
I
order to
can't remember what
function
we called it.
in
Yeah.
e-commerce?
Google
It's in the
Sheets.
Proven Amazon course. I'll stick a link in the
Yeah.
show notes.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. You did such a great job. We got such great feedback, and you just volunteered, just saying, hey, this community's given me so much. I want to give back. We love seeing students step up and do that.
Oh yeah. I mean I've gotten so much. I've honestly been other groups where the admins will post, if you ask a question that has been asked already, we will remove you. So I removed myself. So,
Right.
I
Yeah.
appreciate all the help I've gotten from people, and I've seen there's things that I struggle with that might seem like nothing to someone else. And I've seen people get stuck because they don't know what a CSV file is, or
Right.
you're telling me to do a VLOOKUP. Well, I don't know what. So if you can help someone get over this, what to them might seem like a big bump, and to some of us, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and I love teaching. So it was a lot of fun, and I met some cool people, and yeah, it was rewarding. So
But you actually just hit on something. I'm going to soapbox for just a moment about, the atmosphere of welcoming any and all questions at any time from
yeah,
anybody. Just philosophically, there's a book I've been working on a long time. I got a lot of content in it. It'll pop out at some point, but it's all the things I had to learn. I've got about 100 of them at this point. All the things I had to unlearn from my
yeah,
traditional education before I could succeed as an entrepreneur in business.
yeah,
And one of them is that having that curious mind. You want to be in environments where asking even silly questions is encouraged. It's
Yeah.
rewarded. It's smiled upon. Because one of the things I learned from my traditional education was, at least with where I went to school, only the uncool kids asked questions. Like, you don't ask questions. Don't be
Yeah.
the guy that asks 3 follow-up questions in the middle of class,
Yeah.
right? Or it's
Mhm.
going to pound it into us. No, it's just the opposite in the real world. The people asking questions, the people who never get too big to ask silly questions, those are the people that make it. So
Yeah.
even in the Facebook group, I've been there, I started the group 10 years ago, 74,000 people. I've been doing this for 20 years. I ask really
Wow.
silly questions all the time. I'm my team in the group. Like, I don't know all there is to know. I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
You want to be in that curious questioning mode constantly and encourage it because we can all learn that
Yeah.
way.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and that's just one of the benefits is we're all learning. The other one is newbies. So often, I can't tell you the number of times, Debbie, we've had a new person come into the community, ask some silly questions, and then reveal that they're this giant of a resource that can serve us in
Wow.
so many ways. Had we scared them off, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be here. But are you kidding me? You come from that industry and you've got connections. You
Right.
can help us all do whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
because everyone brings some assets to the table.
Yeah. Just because I don't know this little thing, but yeah, I've got all this. So,
Hmm.
and that's what's amazing about it. Like, just help someone with that little bump and then watch them just take off, right?
Exactly.
So,
And all their
yeah.
unique advantages come into play for all of us. You know,
Yeah.
that's the abundance mindset
Mm.
versus scarcity. But that's the end of my soapbox. I could talk way too much about that. But just thank you for providing that great content for us, the basics of spreadsheets, because you do find yourself getting a bit of an advantage if you can open up and navigate some basic spreadsheet
Yeah.
skills. We got such great feedback. And it's still in the course. Like I said, the Proven Amazon course has a module. I think if you probably just
Mm.
search for the word spreadsheet, you'll find it. But
Yeah.
or Google Sheets, one of the two. But I'll stick a
Yeah.
link, like I said, for those who have a Proven Amazon course membership. Hey, we'll get back to the show in just a moment, but I want to tell you about a way to save a nice chunk of change on all your online shopping and in-store shopping by using discounted gift cards. We've got a new sponsor on the program with a free report they want to give you, no strings attached. Go to silentjim.com/gift cards. That's silentjim.com/gift cards, one word. It's in the show notes as well, that link. What they do is they put together a report that shows you all the places you can go to get great discounted gift cards. And they also offer the service themselves, selling gift cards to many online sellers, our community included. So it's a pleasure to bring them on board as a sponsor. Again, the link one more time, silentjim.com/gift cards for that free special report. Let's get back to the show. It's still in the course. Like I said, the Proven Amazon course has a module. I think if you probably just search for the word spreadsheet, you'll find it. But
Yeah.
or Google Sheets, one of the two. But I'll stick a
Yeah.
link, like I said, for those who have a Proven Amazon course membership. But what else is on your mind? What else was on your list, if anything? And I wouldn't mind hearing how your business is doing now. Just to get people up to date on that as well, if you're okay with that.
So it's like I said, it's grown, you know, I haven't grown massively fast. I've grown about 30% a year.
Mhm.
So it's gone up. Like, I'll sell in the 300s this year. The margins have stayed pretty close, maybe a little less because I do switched over to a prep center, so I don't have to see anything.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so it's going well. And what I'd say is, I came from IT, project management, did a lot of work in businesses about process improvement and implementing processes through automation or whatever. And I think I've been a bit slack with that in my own business. So I've been trying to back up a little bit instead of just sell, 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 sell. I've been slowing down the last few months and trying to get that in order because you can't grow. I mean, you can grow without it, but I think it'll kill you. It's exhausting. It's about a month ago, I did some time tracking just for a couple of weeks. I wanted to understand how much I'm working and where my time is going. And I realized I work far less than I thought I did. I didn't know how many of my sort of midday excursions and
Yeah.
whatever. I honestly thought I was working a
Sure.
lot more, but I also, and I knew this, I knew I was doing too much work that should be delegated.
Mhm.
But when I saw the number, it's like, okay, this is alarming. This is not good. I did hire a VA at the beginning of the year. And one thing I didn't mention, I've been to the conference a couple times. And was it the first time I went? Maybe the second conference I went to, it just sort of clicked with a group of people. There was 6 of us, I think. And we formed a bit of a mastermind. And for at least a year, we collaborated and supported each other and helped each other move along. And there's only 2 of us left, but we collaborate, every day, share leads, share ideas, share knowledge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we hired a VA together, and from our perspective, it worked really well. The VAs didn't work out. The first VA didn't tell us she was also a full-time student, so she was falling
Mm.
asleep and couldn't get the work done. And then the second VA wasn't taking our feedback. So another one gone. But, the good stuff that came out of the conference and meeting people there that you're still collaborating with 2 years later, that's amazing. We let the second VA go. I'm working on hiring a third one. This time I'm going to focus on the other ones were for sourcing. I'm going to get someone to do a lot of my admin work. The time tracking I did for a few weeks, I was a bit alarmed at how much grunt work.
And
Um,
from an IT background, a programming, experience, or anything that's repetitive,
yeah.
you need to build a process and put someone else in charge, pay them a few dollars per hour, a virtual assistant. The beauty of
Yeah.
this business, as you're learning, I'm sure you probably already know, is literally every aspect of it. Once you've done it a couple times, you understand it, can be offloaded onto a
Yeah.
virtual assistant, maybe in the Philippines, $2, $3, $4 an hour US, which is the equivalent of 3 or 4 times minimum wage in the US.
Wow.
Incredible opportunity to get the right people on the
Yeah.
team but it does take a little work and you're still managing people, but man, they can manage the process for you. And that's beautiful. It,
Yeah. So I need to get that done. Maybe I don't want to say 3 times lucky, but yeah, I'll find the right person. And
oh, they're out there.
I am finding it's getting in the way. Like I don't want to work 50 hours a week and the stuff that I should be delegating, it's getting in the way of me doing what I want to be doing, which is the bundles and,
Mhm.
putting my time towards more higher value activities. So,
Right. But you said you weren't working nearly as many hours as you thought. You tracked your time. What are you putting in?
you know what? I only tracked it for a couple of weeks and
Mhm.
I thought I was working almost full time. One week that I tracked was half time. The other week was maybe about 24, 25 hours. I was alarmed
Yeah.
um, because, yeah, it's appointments and I'm working less than I thought. And then in the summer, it goes way down. So when the July
Beach.
and August, it was
The beach is
3 hours
calling.
a day. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm looking, I need to I don't want to crank the work up to 60 hours, but I want to use that time well. I'm fine with working full time for a while. I still do some teaching right now online. I do some other stuff. So that's in there as well. But yeah, the time that I do work, I want it to be spent on the right things. I'd like to have a couple of VAs and, especially with 80% of what I do going across the border, there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of customs. There's a lot of, that's just not time well spent.
Yeah.
So
Well, just to plant the seed, the thought, because I know you're a natural born teacher, you're a natural born leader. You've been doing this a while at a successful level. You love our community, which those are
yeah.
all great things that lead me to what I'm about to say now. I think you should consider maybe helping the rest of us start to understand what it looks like to take advantage of those cross-border opportunities,
Yeah.
because we don't have anyone in our community that's as qualified as you are to start to tackle some of those concepts. Because I know there's roadblocks and challenges, and you could probably rattle them off, and you're thinking, yeah, anyone could figure this out. I figured it out. Well, no, that's an intimidating proposition for me. I've been doing this 20 years, and someone said, hey, let's find some stuff that Canadians want that you can only find in the U.S. and find some stuff that that more expats from Canada in the U.S. want, that you can only find in Canada. and get it across the border without breaking any laws, without violating any Amazon policies. Like, I have
Yeah.
no idea where to start with that, right? But you've been doing it at scale
Yep.
successfully with a flexible lifestyle. Hey, man, let's talk offline about.
I would love to do it. It's,
Yeah.
when I think about when I started, I'm an overanalyzer. So,
Mhm.
that's probably why I had 2 years between my first two shipments, right? And there's some people who are really good at just, okay, let's pound through this and either it's going to work or it's not. But if it didn't work, you learn something. I had a few episodes with the border. I have one I call my Tuna Gate episode. I had no idea you can't just ship fish across the border, and
Fish, yeah.
19 shipments go through, and shipment 20, you get an email asking for the name of the boat the fish were caught on, who was the captain, did the nets
Wow.
harm any dolphins? Like,
Ugh,
I'm not kidding. It was this,
yeah.
it's like, okay, that I should have realized. I didn't. So, yeah. So there's been some learning. There's been FDA issues. There's been lots of stuff, but it's all been worth it. And when I look at, I think, I'm not sure if this is why you asked me to be on the podcast. When we were at the conference, you kind of wandered by, and I don't know what I said. I said something about cross border, but like, I do live on the border. I can go up on the roof of my condo and I'm in Canada. I look at the Detroit skyline. It's right there, but the location doesn't matter. I'm not running back and forth across the border. I could do the same thing from anywhere.
I did interview a guy who actually does that, though. Like,
Runs back and forth.
he's doing really well. Yeah.
And there is, you know what? I mean, I've gone across the border. I'll tell you, my poor sister. I went across the border shopping with my sister, and I saw some dinosaur masks for $12 that sell in Canada for 90.
Mhm.
So I looked at the shelf and I knew it was $1,000 there just sitting there. So I had my sister help me haul them home, and
Yep.
but I don't want to be doing that. But
Sure.
just you
You
get
want to
to
build
learn.
systems. You want to build systems.
Yeah, I don't want to see products ever again.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't. But
Even though there's $50 bills on the shelf and you could drive over and grab anytime you want, you don't want to do that. You want to be
yeah,
on the beach and you want to own a system, right? There's opportunity at every level, but I totally get that.
like, once in a while it's fun, but
Yeah, of course.
and that works for that other guy. That's awesome.
Hmm.
I want the opposite. I want to work from anywhere. But the whole cross-border thing, you get to learn after a while what brands work really well in one country or the other, or a certain toy you just know Americans don't care about, but for some reason Canadians love this toy.
Hmm.
And you also learn, I mean, the price tanking, I don't want to say it's non-existent, but it probably gets reduced by 90% when you just run the product across the border.
Well, yeah,
It's
you're doing a little more work
yeah.
than the next guy. That's all it takes. You want more
Yeah.
margin? Do a little more work
Yeah.
than the next guy. Dig a little deeper, improve a relationship, get off the beaten path just a little bit, go into a
Yeah.
smaller store instead of a mega store. Just
Yeah.
those little degrees of change, suddenly the margin doors open back up for you because you're going just a little further than others
Yeah.
are willing to, which is why I think we'd have some people pretty interested in how's this whole cross-border Canada US thing work? How's how can I get into that if I'm here in the US or if I'm in Canada? How can I start to I think we could really use someone on the team that,
Yeah.
could help coach us through, create some content, educate us all a little bit more. I'd love to dive deeper. Maybe that's a topic that we even, get into our arsenal here in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Well, I've got resources. I've lived it. So yeah, I'd be glad to help. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a customs expert, but you just learn a few things and you find a way to make it work, and you go with it. And
Yep.
it really pays off a lot. And, I have found it's not a problem getting wholesale accounts in either country. And,
Mm.
if you keep working at it, it's a really good way to run your business. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that just you making that comment, I can't remember who it was on our podcast here just a few weeks ago was saying when they're talking to wholesalers, instead of saying, "Hey, I'm an Amazon seller," they say, "I'm a Walmart seller." Like, wow, okay, haven't heard that one. It's like now
Oh,
they sell on Amazon too,
Yeah.
But that's how you get them to get the doors. Like, I'm going to get your products on Walmart, right? Which Amazon
Exactly.
is half of all online purchases any day in the United States. And Walmart is a eBay plus Amazon plus all the Shopify. Sorry, eBay plus Walmart plus all the Shopify. So it doesn't even add up to a portion
Yeah.
of what Amazon is. Amazon's huge, obviously, but these wholesalers haven't heard anyone say Walmart yet. So that opens the door a little bit. Well, from what I hear you say, hey, I'm wanting to get your products into Canada potentially. That'll open up doors of conversation. Like, really? Okay, well, we don't have any e-commerce guys in Canada, I don't think.
Yeah.
So if you're here in the US or vice versa, in Canada, hey, I want to get your products into the US. So just that little extra skill set, that little enough confidence to open the conversation. You don't have to know all the answers.
Yeah.
Learn as you
Yeah.
go, just in time education, right? So that may open up some more doors for you, is the point I'm trying to make. Just these little extra skill sets.
That's interesting. That's very interesting about the Walmart thing, because I think everyone knows how hard it is to get a brand into Walmart. So that's an interesting, whoever came up with that, that's a neat approach.
Right. But if you're a third party seller, it's not hard to get a brand on the Walmart.
No, not at all.
Yeah. On their .com.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Which, if it does well there, they may very well reach out to the brand and say, hey, we've noticed a lot of activity. Have you ever thought about being on our store shelves? Right. So you could be opening up opportunities that they don't even know exist.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, always look for, well, what's in it for them? It's not about, hey, can I have an Excel file? This is what I can do for you. So
exactly. What are your pain points that I can solve? That is such a great way. What are you working on? How can I help? My two favorite John Maxwell questions. When I have a conversation with anybody, I try to weave that theme into the conversation. What challenges are you facing? What do I know, or who in my network might be a resource for you? That's how you build relationships and ultimately build this incredibly strong network of just constant opportunities flowing in. People sending you proposals, wanting to work with you, bouncing ideas off of you. Just an unending flow of like, what's the best opportunities for me at this point? That's what the business feels like to me at this point, 20 years in, because that's how I've conducted myself. I want to leave you today, Debbie, better than we found you. You learned some things. You feel encouraged. You feel challenged. You got some creative juices going, right? Like, I want every encounter we have as a community with those who come to us to feel like that. If we do that, you just got this massive audience of people who love working with you, know, love, and trust you. There's a lot of directions you can go and do well with that.
You know what? And just when you said that, I was thinking of, I did go to the conference in the summer, and even just wrapping up the proven bundling course last night. Like, sometimes someone just says something that really resonates, or maybe they say something, you've already heard it, but the way they say it, it just sort of sticks with you. And I'd have to say, I got that both from the conference and last night. Like, just really, like, Leanna's got just amazing knowledge and creativity. And, I missed half the sessions because I had things going on. So even joining in late, just the little things she's dropping is like,
and you'll go back and catch the recordings, of course, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm going to listen to them in detail. But really cool ideas, like, never thought of that. And it's just an offhand comment. So well worth the time spent. It's a really good course. Very impressed.
And there's still details on the website on how you can get the recorded content as we're kind of wrapping that up. But for those who don't know, maybe we got some new listeners, Debbie, who aren't familiar with how we do things. All of our Amazon content ends up in the Proven Amazon Course library, provenamazoncourse.com. All of it. Has anything to do with Amazon? That's where it's going. Sometimes we have special sessions that are paid and people can come and experience it live, that kind of thing. And then eventually it's going to end up in the Proven Amazon Course. So people that get access to that, get access to everything. But Proven Branded Bundles is one that's going on right now. It's not in the Proven Amazon Course yet. Will be eventually. But tremendous. It's an update to our, we've had bundle training in the past, but Amazon's changed, rules have changed, branding, generic, GPIN exemptions, all this stuff. Like, the game's changed a little bit. So it's just an update with some creative content. And Leanna was far and away between her and Nate, man, they got it dialed in.
Oh, it's good. And bringing like AI tools into the mix, just really neat ideas, really cool ideas.
Yeah. Excited you're going to be going down that road.
Yeah. Yeah. Applications of AI I'd never even considered,
Right.
Yeah. Very, it's good.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. I love being on
Yeah.
the cutting edge of this community and just letting the great leaders share what they're learning and
Yeah.
creating great new content for the community. Yeah, and I'm excited to welcome you aboard. As you're already one of the leaders on the team because you created that spreadsheet stuff for us. But
Wow.
a course along the lines that we're discussing now could even be multiple times more exciting. Just the number of
Yeah.
lives impacted and helping people actually put some real money in the bank. Learn some new skills that set them apart, give them an advantage. I'm excited to talk to you more about that.
Yep.
For sure.
I'd love to do it. Absolutely. Yep. I mean, it's going to help. There's going to be people where this is going to open a whole new avenue or, just give you an idea of what's possible. And it's not as complicated as you think it might be. So,
Yeah. And it's just as an aside too, Debbie, people who kind of think that we set this up ahead of time. We didn't talk about this before. This is
no.
how we find the great new ideas from our community. I say it all the time. Like the new ideas don't come from me. And that's not necessarily hard for anyone to believe, but just the process of floating these new ideas to the community. It starts with a conversation like this. Okay, you're succeeding. You've been around a while. You appreciate the community. It's served you well. You're ready to serve back a little bit, make a little money maybe doing it, teach the right people these new concepts. All right, let's talk.
Yeah.
That's how we've ended up with a library of the most cutting edge Amazon seller content on the planet is these kind of conversations. Our success stories become strategies. And those people are now leaders. And those are the ones on stage at the event. And that's our coaches, right? That's how we do things here. Success fuels the whole thing. So your success fuels this opportunity for everyone else. Beautiful. Well, what else? Anything on your list? Any questions for me? Anything else you wanted to kick around while we had time together? Sounds like we'll be talking again in the near future, though.
I don't have any questions for you, but I wrote a few notes, a couple of things that I wanted to make sure. I guess what I appreciate when I listen to the podcast is when, I don't know, sometimes people give like a few little ideas of what
Golden
works.
nuggets, right?
Yeah, golden nuggets. And a lot of what I've written here, there's no surprises here because they're repetitive. Like, know your numbers. We could probably listen to 300 podcasts and someone will tell you that, but I'll just pick a few that maybe I don't think are as obvious. One of them is, everyone sees this in the Facebook group when there's someone looking for the answer. How do I do this? What's the secret? And I want people to know or recognize there's no secret. There's no one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I really believe if you look at the storefront of $1 million seller, you're not going to go, oh, like that. Like,
Right.
there's nothing different. It's probably the same stuff you're selling.
Exactly.
Your secret sauce is in your processes and your consistency and your commitment and being on top of inventory management and using the 80-20 rule and cutting the dogs. And
that $1 million seller, you're going to look at some of the products and go, that doesn't make any sense. Well, probably because they made all their money on it 3 months ago and now they're just liquidating the last 8 units. Here you are getting impressed. Like, well, I'm going to go sell that. Like, no.
Yeah.
They know something about it. You don't. They sourced it from somewhere. They got a discount. They got they got in early. They've been.
Or they built a relationship and
it's just something they're testing and they don't even know if it's going to work yet. Right. Like it doesn't tell you. Some people like, oh, if I see their catalog, that's not going to necessarily tell you. You don't know which one's winning and losing for them.
No.
And also the thought that came into my mind is the funniest thing. I don't think I've ever used the analogy before when you were just talking about, there is no secret. But remember that movie? You ever see the kids movie Kung Fu Panda?
No.
Can't, the whole thing builds up to this scroll. And sorry if I'm ruining the movie for anybody, but it's been out for years. Come on, man. You should have seen it by now. But he's got to get this scroll, and the scroll has all the answers. And it's this quest for the scroll. He gets the scroll, and it's like, it's a mirror. It's like, what? Like,
oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you are the, that is so true. You get someone with the right mindset.
Yeah.
They got some margin in their life. They got a nice, healthy approach. They realize that they're not going to find that magic button that they just push and make money. Like that doesn't exist. Stop paying for that.
Yeah.
Let's do some work now.
There's no secret, but there's a million little lessons to learn. Every shipment you send in, like it just accumulates and builds.
Better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So don't look for the secret. Just, execute on your own plan.
Yes.
What else? trying to think. When I started selling, what did I say? Party supplies, lots of candy and stuff. I've moved more recently. I've been selling tools and household things. One little area I've gotten into that has done really well for me is looking for maybe luxury brands, expensive brands, and just selling the accessories. So, like, I don't sell Vitamix, but Vitamix, they're $500 blenders. People with Vitamixes will spend $50 on a spatula. So, that's one area I've looked at lately, and I've done quite a bit of it, and I don't know, it's just it works really well. What else? I guess other than that is the shiny object syndrome. There's always something else to try, something else something else that looks fun and lucrative. I don't know why, but the Carolina, the girl I collaborate with quite a bit that I met at the conference a few years ago, our inventory overlaps a lot because we share leads all day, every day, but we each have our strengths. And for some reason, she can be really good at toys and I can be really good. Like, I can find a bag of candy that can sell $1,000 in a day. And, so looking over there at what someone else is doing, do what's working for you. Like, find your own little niche and get good at it and learn it really well, because any category, any niche can be successful. So, you don't want to be hopping around and, well, I have to try that because they're selling Legos or whatever it might be, Baby Alive or something. So,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's such good advice. It's an interesting balance between always trying new things, but never at the expense of moving away from those things that are already working well.
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
discipline.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a
Take
number of
care of
times
that foundation.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole bolt versus bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, Jim, you said multiple income streams. That means I need to be working on 50 different things at the same time. No, that's not what it feels like. My life is not a scattered mess of random, like,
Yeah.
oh, what do I want to do right now? I feel like doing this. Okay, now I feel like doing that. No, you build systems, you put good people in place, you monitor the system. So you know your numbers, you know if it's working or not, you know if it needs attention. And then you start experimenting with some of your time. See, I spend most of my time ensuring that the things I've already built are still working. But a significant amount of my time is trying new things, testing new ideas, having conversations, brainstorming. Like just you and I in our conversation today, this simple podcast episode, hour long, spent together, is going to result in millions of dollars of profit for numerous people in our community. And some of that benefit's going to come back to you and to us and to the leadership team as well. You've got to carve time out for those kind of conversations. If we just both stayed nose to the grindstone, who needs a podcast? I mean, no one's paying me to do this thing, right? I got some sponsors now. I can't say that anymore, but yeah, I'm not making a lot of money to do these episodes. Right. The real payout is in the relationships, the connections, the new interesting takes on little tweaks I've never thought of before, right? And that puts more money in everyone's pocket, more happy customers, more Canadians living in the US and get their hands on the candy they really want, and they're willing to pay $12 for it, even though it's only $1 at home. Yeah. They're willing to pay you a few dollars of profit because they can get it here now.
Yeah. And it's cheaper than running across the border. So,
You're serving them very well. I mean, I saw those numbers that Jeff Bezos put out here a few years back about the billions of dollars in saved time and convenience and fuel costs of people being able to shop from home.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, you're going to pay a couple more dollars, right? But good grief, are you kidding me? The convenience, there's a reason everybody does it. It's convenient, man.
I think of it as like room service. Once in a while, you're in a hotel and you're willing to spend $48 on a hamburger because
right.
It's raining, it's snowing, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Get me the hamburger.
My time is valuable.
Yep.
Yeah. I need it now for whatever reason. Yeah. So we serve those folks very well as sellers.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's been a great time hanging out with you. I don't want to cut you off, but I think, did we hit your list?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't know. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to say or the few things I wanted to put in, but I hope this helps some people.
I'm sure it will.
I'm not a big, huge seller, but I hope I've said something that maybe encourages someone to, to keep on going. because it's worth it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you've got a business that you're basically running by yourself that's doing hundreds of thousands of dollars, putting a
Yeah.
great net margin. Like, there's a lot of people out there that will never get to that point with all kinds of other business models out there. That's what I
Yeah.
love about this business is you've got a very nonchalant, you're like a warrior that woke up and like, I'm going to tackle and, failure's not an option. He's like, no, I'm going to figure this out. And
Yep.
you have. And you put some nice money in the bank and you spend some time on the beach and you're teaching
Yep.
us some new skills along the way. I love the pace. You've got a great leadership style that I just can't wait to get more in
Oh,
front of
thank
folks.
you.
And it's
Very
going to be
kind.
fun working with you some more.
Very kind. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I enjoy the group. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have made it to this point without the group. So yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad to step in and just help other people. I really enjoy doing it. So it's really, I'd like to encourage people because there's natural born entrepreneurs and some of us aren't, but just want to do it anyway. Like it really leads to a lifestyle that I really value.
Mhm.
I could go back to IT tomorrow and make more money a lot easier, but life is really short. Life is really precious.
Yeah.
I spent 2 months at the beach and hung out with my daughter, and you just don't want to take it for granted. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Life is
give it a
precious.
shot, people.
Enjoy those
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got my own theories about entrepreneurship. I think we're all born entrepreneurs
Yeah.
because we're all born with that internal sense of fulfillment that comes from having made someone else's life better.
Yeah.
Right. We're all like, we at some point that kicks in. Like, wow, I just made that person's life a lot better. There's an internal reward you begin to recognize. That's all
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is. It's serving others with excellence. Just so happens you don't need donations to do it when you're in business because
Yeah.
people are paying you for the opportunity to serve them. Right. So it's a beautiful thing that I think gets crushed out of some of us, but it's just a theory. I'm not saying I would die on that hill and debate or anything, but I think a lot more of us are entrepreneurial than we recognize just because we love
Yeah.
serving others and we love the reward that comes from it. Right. But love working with you. It's been so fun. We need to wrap this episode up. I actually got a hard
Right.
stop coming at me pretty fast, and you've been such a pleasure to hang out with. And I'm excited that we're going to be talking a little bit more in the near future. Thank you, Debbie.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Been a
Well,
pleasure.
for me as well. And for the listeners who hung out with Debbie and I today, hopefully you enjoyed it a fraction as much as we did because I think we put some big stuff in play. I learned some new things. I'm excited and challenged to take some new ideas to my team about some things I think we might be adding to our arsenal. But if you're new to this show, I just want to let you know that you should scroll back in time. We've got hundreds of episodes with students who've come through our community as either coaching students or as proven Amazon course students, and they've built beautiful businesses. That's what most of our episodes are all about. If you want to hear a bunch of those stories, jump in. If you want to get into our free Facebook group that Debbie was talking about earlier, there's links to everything at silentjimdotcom. Even today's show notes where we talked about all kinds of stuff. We talked about some of the tools that Debbie's using. I took good notes. I've got a link to all those tools and resources. Those are in the show notes. Go to silentjim.com, find this episode, whether you're on YouTube or listening on your favorite listening app. Go to the show notes and you'll find some great links to those resources. And Debbie, I need to ask you this. Forgot. Are you coming to the conference in May? Do you have plans yet? Did you say?
I am. I've already bought my ticket. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because those who were at the last one had a chance to buy early. So you got in on the deal, right?
Mhm.
Great. So
Yeah.
the tickets will be available to everyone else in the near future. So theprovenconference.com, there's going to be hundreds of Amazon sellers from all over the world, e-commerce warriors, great sessions. Debbie might even be teaching one on cross-border selling opportunities between Amazon and US. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. But hey, God bless all the business building warriors who joined us today. We'll have another great episode for you again very soon. Can't wait to talk to you then. Hey, before I let you go, one last reminder about an easy way to save money on every purchase you make online or in stores by using discounted gift cards. There's a free special report that's been set up by our latest sponsor, Arbitrage Card. You can get this report. Tells you how to go find these great discounted cards. Go to silentjim.com/gift cards. That's silentjim.com/gift cards, all one word. The link is in the show notes as well. Go grab that report.